like old times.
It's like new times.
Okay, I'll make sure everybody has a chance to answer their questions, so don't feel like you've got to, you know. Somebody want to be first?
What's your assessment of how the teachers vote? How important is the teachers' vote to you this?
Well, I think the teachers' vote's very important, but also parents. You know, the parents in Ohio are concerned about their kids. They're concerned about getting a good education for their children, and so not only are teachers, but parents and other staff members, custodians, you know, lunch ladies. So I want to reach out to all of those who have a part in educating our kids, to let them know that I'm on their side, that I understand the importance of public education because it changed my life, and I want every kid in Ohio, regardless of whether they're rich or poor or somewhere in between, to have the opportunity to get a good, high-quality public education that will prepare them for a successful life.
Governor, you dealt at length with testing requirements.
Yes.
What role can the federal government really do with that?
Well, under No Child Left Behind, the federal government was largely responsible for what happened with high-stakes testing. And, you know, when No Child Left Behind was being considered many, many years ago, I testified before the Education Committee and pointed out, this was before No Child Left Behind passed, I testified and pointed out to the Education Committee my concern about the overemphasis on high-stakes testing. So this has been something that I've been concerned about for many, many years. And as I said, I think No Child Left Behind, which was a federal bill, really led to the overemphasis on high-stakes testing. And I hope this new legislation, the Every Child Succeeds Act, will be successful in getting rid of some of those onerous, destructive requirements.
Governor, what is your specific plan, if elected, on charter schools? Would you propose legislation to remove all the funding? What specifically would you do about it?
No, there are some good charter schools, and I understand that and recognize that. But especially in Ohio, the charter school implementation has been scandalous. Ohio has for-profit charter schools. Most states do not have for-profit charter schools where people can make money off of the education of our kids. And so I oppose for-profit charter schools. I oppose, obviously, these scandalous e-schools where they are unwilling or unable to even document the fact that the students that they're getting paid to teach are even participating in the educational process. And so I am not against all charter schools, but I am certainly against the way Ohio has implemented and monitored and supervised charter schools. You know, in my very first State of the State address, which was some years ago now, I called for a moratorium on the expansion of any charter schools until we had an accountability system in place. If we had done that when I called for that, we would have saved a lot of problems. We'd saved the taxpayers a lot of money, and we would have saved our students from being used and abused in these failing charter schools, which are being run by people whose primary purpose is to make money, not to educate our kids.
We've seen accountability problems with ECOT lately, and while I know that's largely a state issue, has Senator Portman done anything that has exacerbated the problem or failed to do anything to help the problem?
Well, you know, I mentioned the $71 million allocation for charter schools that was coming from the U.S. Department of Education. He wrote a letter in support of that. I wrote a letter to Arnie Duncan condemning that because of the scandalous oversight or lack of oversight of the charter school movement here in Ohio. As I say, there are good charter schools, but when you take an organization like the Fordham Foundation, which is a pro-charter organization, even the Fordham Foundation has called into question the lack of accountability in Ohio's charter school movement. And it needs to be cleaned up, and it needs to be cleaned up rapidly, because I believe millions of dollars are being given to entities that are not educating our kids while using public tax dollars to enrich themselves.
So, Governor,